here. Yep, that's what we're going to do. And, Coach, we appreciate you running back across here. Know that that's not always easy, but I was just saying a moment ago, obviously 20-10, not the outcome you're hoping for, but there were a lot of positives out there on the football field for your team.
Yeah, we just talked as a team in the locker room, and as coaches coming out of this game, never been more confident in who we can be. Who we will be is to be determined,
right?
But who we can be, we're young in certain spots, never to be used as an excuse. We scheduled a challenging first opponent. That's a good football team,
yep.
And that was a great first test. It's a long journey this season. It has ups and downs. So how we respond from here is going to be the telltale sign of who we're going to be this season.
Well, let's start with the defense. I thought a lot of your positives on the defensive side. I thought Jordan Grimes played a heck of a game. Not just the interception, but you guys seem to do a really good job on their screen game and their jet game, being able to contain them and many times for loss.
Well, one, we can run on defense, but two, you mentioned about Jordan Grimes, and Jordan's a testament to when you work really, really hard and you're passionate about your craft and you put the time in, you end up seeing the results. And that's what you saw out there out of him, and we're certainly proud of the effort that he had today.
And you guys came up with a couple other stops at key times, but maybe the other side of that coin is maybe got left out on the field a little bit too long or a little too often, and especially on a day as warm as this, that can certainly be tough on the defense.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mentioned on the headset somewhere in the third quarter, I said, hey, we have left our defense on the field way too long, and certainly, that's not the goal or the idea of what you want to do from an offensive perspective, but, some of the miscues that we had were unfortunate and uncharacteristic, and things we got to fix, because you need to play that balanced game of football, and when it gets lopsided as far as time of possession, it's natural for a side to wear down, and as you mentioned, the heat was a factor as well.
Let's talk a little bit about the offense. Some positives there. Garrett Clark, Brian Benson both showed what they can do at times when they get their hands on the football. But you also got to give a little credit to Truman. They managed to stiffen up as that game went along.
Yeah, they did, and I think it was more from a running game perspective, a feast or famine. What you didn't see were those consistent 5 and 6 yard runs. Those guys are both, very accomplished backs, and you'd see them break out for 16, 17, 20 yards. First down, hey, let's run the football again, and then you went right back to a 2nd and 11, right? And that takes the game plan and makes it real small. So consistency obviously there, but we know who those kids are as the season goes along.
Talk about the passing game here a little bit. Your predecessor was notorious for saying you judge quarterbacks by wins and losses, and maybe that's fair, maybe that's not fair. But what did you see from Alec Barnhorst? Because it seemed kind of like you talked about feast or famine. There certainly were some good things there, but some other things that you're going to have to go back to the board on.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how old you are. When you make your first start, it's your first start. And Alec Barnhorst is our quarterback, and he's a captain for us. And I think there were times where he would tell you he maybe tried to do a little bit too much and tried to force things here or there. But again, it's I would be more concerned if this was week 7 and we were talking about that than week 1. And the best thing that we have going right now is when he comes back next week, he's a returning starter.
And then the other side of that, the passing game is receivers, and it looked like there was a degree, it looked like you're trying several different guys in different combinations on the receivers, and sometimes it worked out well.
Yeah, I think that there's a handful of guys that can go out there and play, and that's something that if it's not completely settled coming out of camp, then you got to mix that rotation up until you find out, who the guys are in those moments. And there's certainly things that we can do. And again, on a hot day, and then you find yourself down and having to go into 2 minute, you're going to get gassed out there, running routes over and over again. So rolling some of those young kids in was important to us.
All right, Coach, let's look ahead. One of the best things about it is you got another game just a week away here, an opportunity to kind of take this one out of your mouth. What can you tell us about Pace?
Pace was a 6-5 football team last year in the NE10. The head coach has been there for a while. They opened up this Thursday night against East Stroudsburg University and did not win that game. But be honest with you, I know who they were last year. We know who they were last year as a coaching staff. I have no idea what they look like until we put the film on tomorrow. Our focus was here on Truman State, and but even with that, with whoever Pace is, this is going to be more about us and seeing how we grow. It's easy to get excited after the wins, but to rally together as a team after a tough loss, that'll be the sign of the true character of this football team.
Well, as always, Coach, we appreciate your time. Appreciate you coming back up here, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you. Go Oilers.
Go.